And we are live on episode number 98, Monday night, going in raw. I'm Etep Wakuyan, right here in the place to be reviews with all of yous. Good Monday night, Monday, April 27th, 2020. We are still under full martial law lock. I'm just kidding. Anyway, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us, Admiral Tiberius. Hail to thee, sir. Hail, raise double dong. Still in the chat. And my panel this evening includes, next to me to my right, Mr. Tony ToneDef.
What's up, everybody out there in YouTube land? Thank you for tuning in tonight. Thank you for once again accepting me as part of this show. I hope everyone's keeping their sanity out there, and yeah, ready to open back up.
Let's get this show on the road, right?
Yep.
So thank you for being here again, brother. I do appreciate it. As always, sir. Joining me on the bottom right-hand corner of my screen, probably yours too, unless you're standing upside down on the ceiling, is Steve from Franchise History TV. Good evening, sir.
What up, y'all? It's hot out here in Arizona. I'm burning. It's really hot out here. But anyways, hope you all doing well out there, and stay safe out there, and open up, America. I had enough of this bug crap already. I'm done. I quit. I'm done. Go ahead now.
All right, man. Thank you. And last but certainly not least, he is in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. He is the Don of 2 Cents Toys. Hail, Salvador.
Hello and salutations. Awe, truant to Kaiser. All right, I've been playing a lot of Fallout New Vegas recently, and that little phrase is stuck in my head. So I'm here. I woke up about, I don't know, let's say probably an hour ago and decided to go to GameStop to pick something up that I pre-ordered, and it's about a 30-minute drive, but I made it there and back in probably 40 minutes. So extrapolate from that what you will.
Yeah, but you got what you're hunting down.
That's right. $140 later.
Yeah, but it's going to be worth it, and I'm looking forward to the review.
Hell yeah. I'll leave it a mystery. I'm going to film it tonight, edit it, and upload it. It should be going live tomorrow. And so stay tuned to the channel to find out what it is.
That's right. I'm not going to say. I'm looking forward to it. I got a Admiral. There it is right there. Boom.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
We gonna make it rain in the Benjis and the lube.
God damn it. Oh hell. So yeah, we've got a good show planned for you guys tonight. Hail to thee, Flare X, Admiral Tiberius, and Raise Double Dawn. Again, thank you for joining us. And yeah, we got some love before the show even started. I've got screenshots to send to you guys of the comments. It was our good friend. Thou shall we not mention his name, but yeah, he stopped by to say hello and pay his regards, and I love it. I love it because that's all traction. So with that being said, we can move right into the first thing I want to talk about tonight. Is I watched the movie Cats on Saturday night. Now that is I don't think it was supposed to be a horror movie, but it was fucking terrifying. I don't really know how you can the Broadway, it's like the movie was trying to legitimize the furry movement. I mean, this is what it is. It's like a furry convention that had like $175 million budget.
Nice.
I mean, Tom Hooper, I think he won an Oscar for something or other. I don't really know, but I do remember him being a pretty much lauded, and acclaimed director. So I was kind of like, all right, this movie really as bad as everybody says it was? And I was going into it, I was medicated very heavily, and while I did laugh, I was cringing a lot, and it's like you can't barely understand what the hell they're saying when they're singing either. I mean, and you've got some big talent in that movie. I mean, you've got what's her name, Judi Dench, or no, Helen Mirren. It's Helen Mirren. think it's Helen Mirren or Judi Dench, one of them old broads. I don't know.
Generic old white lady number one.
That's basically it. Outside of Betty White, do any other old ass white ladies like that even matter?
The Queen.
Betty White is like the quintessential, like, just
The
old
Queen.
lady. She is. Like, Betty White is the goddess. Like, I'd probably still sleep with Betty White.
No way. The Queen of England. She's been around for 650 million years.
Hell yeah.
She has, dude. She is like...
When the world was created, the first people said, "Oh, this is neat. Who's that?" And they're like, "Oh, she was here when we got here."
Yeah. And a couple years later, Betty White became her Padawan.
Hey, I tell you what, man. Meghan Markle better watch out. She better stay out of them fucking tunnels. The Queen does not like her ass. The Queen does not like her at all. She shoots that bitch daggers. I bet you Meghan Markle's got an OnlyFans now that they don't have that royalty money anymore.
I hope so. I'll go find it.
I'm not gonna lie. She's sexy. I'm not saying she's not a sexy woman. She is. But you can't tell me she married old Prince there for his looks.
Nah.
Oof. I mean, oof. That's rough.
The motherfucker's like half a point away from looking like Ed Sheeran. That motherfucker looks like, I don't know, like a 12-year-old just put on glasses and decided, I'm going to be a music star.
He's straight out of the Shire.
Hell yeah.
I mean, if Kid Rock's straight out of the trailer park, he's straight out the Shire. Ed Sheeran is, he's probably got some fucking furry ass little fucking feet, and he runs around barefoot all the time. I'm going on an adventure.
I thought he was a foot. I like how he's not relevant anymore. Like, he had like 2 or 3 big hits, and then everyone just kind of forgot who the hell he is. I think Game of Thrones did that to him.
Thank God. Dude, we had with the Ed Sheeran, man, we had his music on loop on that pop station I worked on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was bad. Oh God, it was bad.
Yeah. What kills me about that kind of stuff, having been a musician that performs before, is that what's that most famous song of his, not Shape of You, Thinking Out Loud or whatever, that one that kind of launched him into the stratosphere.
Yeah, something like that.
He's one of those artists that has a bad habit of writing songs based on who he's dating.
Yeah.
And so that song was written for some girl that he got engaged to. It might have been the girl from the music video. And then, of course, they broke up. So now it's like, I think he got married like last year or some shit. So it's like, anytime he plays that song live, it's like, this song was written about a girl who's not my wife.
Can't throw away the love letters.
The song was about, it was another singer. Oh God, what was, I knew who, because I did a story on it on the radio. Fuck, I can't remember who it was. It was like, this is like 5 years ago, I think. About 5 or 6 years ago. But I'll be damned if I could remember who it was. And to kind of loop it back, didn't Taylor Swift, well, she's another one that makes songs about all her exes. Did they date for a minute?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, she dated, what was that fucking goofy ass DJ she dated? Because she dated some fucking DJ.
She's dated everybody.
I dated her.
Sharon.
I dated her like for a week and a half.
Yeah.
I didn't get a song though. I was pissed.
I fucked her at a party.
That was it too. I was like, I just like, smashed a couple times, and I was like, I was kind of a dick. I'm like, just hoping I'd get a song. I was like, purposely being an asshole to her. I was like, Taylor, write a song about me, a stupid fucking country bumpkin bitch. I was like, I'll give you some fucking teardops on your guitar.
Speaking of Ed Sheeran's dating. Speaking of Ed Sheeran's dating life, and so I've just been holding this one in for a minute, but I mean, who do you think gets more pussy, him or his keyboardist?
I don't know who's his keyboardist.
Well, I'm just saying, like in a normal band, the front man, the lead singer, he's always, him and the drummer constantly nailing the groupies,
Yeah.
But I feel like Ed Sheeran like friend zones himself.
I would say his keyboardist probably gets more trim than him, honestly.
Yeah.
Probably a sound engineer does.
The roadies are getting more tail than Ed Sheeran. It's like, damn, hey, will you sing to me while I bang your fucking roadie?
I think he friend zoned himself through his music, so it's like they get to the back and they want to talk to him about their boyfriends or the keyboardist or but I don't think he's actually nailing much strange. Like the songs we said, Salvador was talking about, they're about his ex-girlfriends, but he probably meets girls and then builds up a relationship in his head. And then, she considers him a friend and he's looking at roses online for her, that kind of thing. And he writes his little love songs.
Are we talking about Ed Sheeran or Biz Markie?
I don't know.
It could go either way.
Yo, you got what I need.
Would you say he's just a friend?
Oh, baby, yo.
Got what I need.
I just feel like he opened. Biz Markie is cool, but I just feel like Ed Sheeran maybe took rock stardom to a place it shouldn't be.
Probably.
This wait, Motley Crue current era gets more trim than he does. Yeah, probably, man. Nikki, what's his name? Nikki Sixx.
Yeah,
he's still slaying.
Oh yeah,
Tommy
Lee definitely still is.
Flopping his schlong all over Hollywood.
Tommy Lee. Oh, I still remember the Pamela and Tommy video that was like the first. That was the first online porn video I ever watched. Like, a celebrity one. That was it right there. Because I was 16 when that came out.
Everyone did. You're like, wait a minute, I can see her boobies.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then she was in Barbed Wire, and it was like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, when you're blown out like that, is a boat really the best place to reveal yourself? Like catch a couple folds flapping in the wind, the boat starts to resist. I think I had a crush on her until that video.
Yeah. Yep, because Baywatch came out before that, and then you saw it, and it was like, oh. And then she dated Scott Baio, and I think she even dated David Spade at one point. I mean, she was scraping the bottom of the barrel. She must have been like ready to go into rehab when she started dating David Spade.
I'm just saying, you're a millionaire, and there are surgeries for that.
Yeah. Bitch, get them labias fixed. Get that tightened up a little bit.
I feel like she really hit the bottom of the barrel when she started doing the Comedy Central roasts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, God, she fell off quick, too. Here's a good one from Admiral Tiberius. Taylor Swift is like a bad chicken dinner. 2 small breasts, a left wing, and a skinny thigh.
He ain't lying.
No, he's not. He is not. She's like, I don't know. She has an odd body. Like, I don't want to like make fun of her because she's quasi talented, I guess. I mean, when your dad basically buys you a record contract, you can't really, and there's auto tune and stuff. But she's an odd shaped. And speaking of that, because she was in Cats, and so was Rebel Wilson. And I said it was a horror movie. The worst part of that was watching Rebel Wilson roll around on the ground, spread her legs, and scratch the inside of her thigh.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a visual. Like, my wife looked, she goes, Jesus Christ. She goes, what the fuck? I'm like, I don't know. I'm trying not to look.
I feel like the major misstep here for Cats is that they, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think kind of the first Broadway transition from Broadway to film was that Phantom of the Opera movie that came out in, what was it, 2003, 2004, something like that?
Yeah, I think it was around 03.
And that was wildly successful.
Yeah.
But I feel like the things people forget is that Phantom of the Opera didn't originate on Broadway. It was a silent film a long time ago, and it's had a lot of iterations, so it was already an established kind of lore story that people were familiar with. And I don't know, they've done that a couple times, haven't they? Tried to take things from Broadway, like I guess was that I can't say it in French, but The Miserable or The Misery.
Les Miserables.
Yeah, that was a popular one. It's just like, I feel things like Cats on Broadway, it wasn't popular for the story or the music. It was popular because of, the costumes and the special effects and all that for Broadway. And then people are just like, yeah, this will make money.
They were mistaken.
Universe, though.
They chose poorly.
They did choose poorly. That, and hey, what's up? Hang on 1 second. Hail Keely Chow, man, and hail Flare X. Thank you guys for joining us. We got 7 in the chat. Let's get 7 slaps of that like button. Yeah, man, that was a problem. It was kind of lost in translation because what they did was, it's all all music. There's very little just dialogue. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's just there's a few passing transitions, here and there, but for the most part, no, it's just all straight up, nothing but songs. And like I said, some of them are kind of difficult to understand the words. Like I had the hardest time. I figuring out they were saying Jellicle cat, which is like, I guess they're the kind of cats they are. I was like, and then it's just weird. Like a lot of the songs are fucking odd. Like the end. What the hell was it when they were singing? Like the very closing number of the movie, it was just very weird, and it was like just kind of, oh, this is this kind of cat and this is this kind of cat, and I'm like, what the what? Like what the fuck are you even talking about? And the worst thing was seeing like Ian McKellen, man, because as soon as he showed up, I was like, Magneto, what did he had? What had Magneto had? I was like, is Magneto in witness protection? He became a fucking cat, I'm like, yeah, and it's nightmare fuel.
It sounds like something, and I've never seen the movie or the play, but it sounds like something that's meant to be enjoyed live.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like you may have dodged a bullet, Pete, because I think Meech might have gotten some ideas if he had been in the room.
Oh God. Yeah, he didn't watch it. He was sleeping on the den sofa at the time. He didn't get to watch it, but yeah, he's fucking, I posted a picture of him last night on Admiral Tiberius tagged me in a post on Facebook, and it's a cardboard army tank for a cat, and the fucking cat was just sticking his eyes out, and it looked like Meech. So I posted a picture of him on there. He says he's a chunk. I'm like, yeah, dude, he's like 17, 18 pounds.
Hell yeah.
He's a big boy.
What is it, Norwegian wood cat or something like that?
Yeah, Norwegian forest cat.
Forest cat, yeah.
That's why I named him Big Meech. I knew from the time I got him he was gonna be a little gangster, so I named him Big Meech.
Hell yeah.
He smacks the dog around. She's about 20, she's about 26, 27 pounds now. He smacks the shit out of her. But them two, like, they will come down the hallway outside my office, and I can hear him plain as day, like slamming off the walls, like playing bumper cars during the show. They get going at night. You know what I mean? His big fat ass, he'll hit there because it's like hardwood and there's rugs, and he'll skip in between the rugs and he'll fucking twist the rug up and he'll slam into the wall, or he'll break hard and go into the bedroom, and then the dog will smack into a fucking door. It's great. Cats and dogs, man. Cats and dogs. They're not getting along.
Speaking about a movie that was better than Cats and Dogs.
Cats and Dogs is much better than Cats. No, I mean, this movie lost it was like 150, $175 million for Universal, something ridiculous like that. And it's like, I'm not a huge fan of musicals in, cinema. I mean, there's very few. Like Fiddler on the Roof is I love that movie to death. I sing the songs as my kid, but that's more of a, kind of like, I don't know, call it like a cultural thing. I love the movie. I grew up watching, there's a few, like, I like the Sound of Music, not something I've watched probably in the last 20 years, but it's a good movie. I loved The Greatest Showman with Hugh Jackman. Have you guys seen that one?
No.
I have not. I like you, I'm not a fan of musicals, so I tend to avoid them.
It was recommended to me.
Yeah, with few exceptions. There are some that I'll watch, but I in high school, transitioning into college, I was involved in theater productions. Not as an actor, but as a set designer and set builder, because I like working with tools and work with my hands. And being around those fucking weirdos just absolutely killed musicals for me, because every single motherfucker thinks they know how to sing. And they just start singing shit, and you're like, could you please not do that? Or possibly use this firearm instead of a microphone next time?
You're giving me flashbacks of Guitar Center.
Yeah, Guitar Center, fucking every motherfucker. Like, the people who know how to play will usually sit down, they'll try a guitar out without an amp, and be like, okay, because they know that their amp at home isn't going to sound like the one at the store. And then every motherfucker who thinks they can play turns that shit up to fucking 12. I'm gonna play the same solo 8 times in a row till someone comes and talks to me.
Overcompensation.
Nope.
I'm just checking out the action. And you know you can set up that guitar later at your house to accommodate whatever action you want, right? Like it's people like there's so much that you can do in terms of like setting up a neck and the saddles and everything else, and they're just like they want to pull something off the shelf and not do anything to it, and that's how you can tell who is a musician and who just plays guitar.
Yep.
So
See, I worked in the pro audio department, so like that's where all the microphones are, and
oh man,
so I mean every closet rapper. I mean every like mom walking in with their 14-year-old kid who wants to be a DJ, all that. And, most of the people were cool, but man, you would get those singers in there or those arrogant rappers. And it would, man, like you're standing in the same store as I am, man. Like, yeah.
I had sold a brand new Durango to a gentleman when I was working for Chrysler, and he owned a guitar musical school, and he built guitars. His name is Brian Gallup. He literally is like, he has students come from all over the world to go to his school. Super, like, and you can Google Gallup Guitars. It's in Big Rapids, Michigan. He just built a new school, and I got to take a tour of it when I delivered his truck to him, or his Durango, and it was really cool. Like I got to see where they were built and like how they form everything. The stringing processes. I mean, just everything from start to finish with these. And I sat there and watched the students kind of work on them a little bit.
Thanks.
It was really a neat experience. I mean, he has kids from like Southeast Asia, all over the place. It was insane because I'm looking at, because they all have their plaques, made out of wood, with their names engraved in them on their workstations. So I was kind of walking around looking at them, and I got to meet a few of them. So it was really neat. For somebody like myself who's not, I'm obviously a fan of music, but I'm not a musician at all. Like I said, I DJ'd on a pop station, a classic rock station, and stuff like that. I'm not a SoundCloud rapper or anything. Those days are long behind me. I was rapping before SoundCloud, so busting freestyles on the lunch line and shit. No, but no. So seeing the guitars being made was, it was really cool. I had a guitar as a kid and just never had the patience to learn how to play it or do anything with it. Guitar Hero I can shred, but no. But see, like both my sisters are, can play multiple instruments, and both of them can sing. There's certain things I can sing and sound actually pretty decent. Unfortunately, most of it is country. But that's my beast of burden, I guess.
Two things that don't get enough credit is country music and American-made guitars.
It's true.
It's true.
True. We'll preface that by saying true country music, not hip hop.
Yes. Thank you. I'm like I said, I'm not a country fan, but there are a lot of old country artists that I respect, and they do have some good music, and it was all pre 2000s, with some carryovers from, the early 60s and 70s, the crooners, basically, as it were.
Yeah.
When they came out with those fucking, bedazzled suits with all the tassels and everything hanging off of them. And
yep.
Had the Grand Ole Opry.
Yes. Everything looked like an episode of Hee Haw. Hey, I used to watch that damn show as a kid with one of my the ladies that babysit me. She was originally from Texas, and she fucking loved that show. I sit there and watch that with her as a kid. Anyway, so Cats was horrible. Oh, here we go. Fun fact. I'm just gonna put this on the screen. God damn it! Welcome, Leo Red. That's Flair X's comment. Here, we'll go back to his. Fun fact, ETEP did the country music voiceovers for Joe Exotic. I saw a tiger, and the tiger saw a man. I was like, the first time we watched that show, me and the wife was sitting down watching, I was like, there is no way that is that motherfucker singing. There's no way.
No, either... I remember reading at one point that it was actually like someone else singing or something like that. But I mean, you can achieve that with a lot of heavy post-production, like a lot of pitch correction, a lot of like flange and stuff on the voice. You can do a lot, which is what a lot of these people do now. It's like 90% how you look, and then like Oh, I'd say probably more like 60% how you look, 35% who you know, and then 5% what the studio can do for you.
Yeah, yeah. There's very few true singers in country in music in general, really today. I mean, if you look at this will be a music discussion on the Place to Be Reviews Monday night music going in raw. No, it's true though, man. There really isn't. Like you look at a lot of this thing that they lip sync in concert, which is like, I don't want to go to a concert and see somebody lip sync. I'll go watch some drunks sing karaoke and
Hmm.
and participate my damn self, and then spending $100 for a ticket and $120 and just to have 6-7 beers. Fuck.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're paying to see them perform.
That's it.
Yeah.
And people. Oh, go ahead, Sal.
That's like when you go to those rock concerts or the big metal shows and they have that like wall of amplifiers behind them. Not a single one of them is plugged in. It's all pumped through the PA system that's already there.
Yep.
So they're just being like, look how much money we have. Like the drum player, like the drummers that have fucking like 180-piece kits, but they only use 5. Like Motley Crue, I think Tommy Lee at one point had like 4 bass drums or some shit like that, and it's like he uses one.
That's
like,
ridiculous.
And one of his roadies said at one point, I don't know if this is a myth or like an urban legend, but apparently one of those kick drums was actually a refrigerator. Like they modded it out to keep beer and stuff in it, and it wasn't actually even used.
I can see that. It's Tommy Lee.
That's funny.
He probably had a way he was busting out rails back then too.
Probably.
He just had a bullet. He'd set one of his. Well, the guy from Def Leppard would really be screwed. How the hell he couldn't even bust it up and man, never mind. We're not talking about that. That's
He
not
lost an arm and became a better drummer.
Yeah, like that's oh geez, that's like being what the hell? There's the one the one-armed baseball player. It's just playing the field is a little difficult. Let's see. So yeah, Cats was bad. Cats was bad, and lip syncing is bad. But no, you're talking about seeing these seeing them perform, especially like rock concerts. Like that's the one thing people knock Rob Zombie. He puts on I like Rob Zombie's music. I don't like his movies that much. Like I said, I like Devil's Rejects and House of a Thousand Corpses, and I want to see 3 from Hell. I have the Halloweens I'm not a fan of. There's certain aspects I like. Like I like Malcolm McDowell in pretty much anything, but I really enjoy Rob. I've seen Rob Zombie in concert twice, and his stage show alone is worth the price of admission. And he puts on a fucking show for like hours. I mean, he definitely goes above and beyond on stage, which is really cool to see.
Hell yeah. And there's something to be said for that. Sometimes, like, I don't mean this as a slight in any way. Some of the best shows I've ever seen required like no theatrics at all. And then other times, like, especially when they start getting up there in age, they have to do the theatrics because they know that they can't really hold it live anymore. Or conversely, some of the young bucks, they rely completely on gimmick because they know they're not that good.
That's that reminds me of that band Greta Van Fleet.
Oh yeah, the fucking Led Zeppelin ripoff.
Yep, that's what I saw. They opened at the Riff Fest I went to. It was like Rob Zombie and Five Finger Death Punch, Hailstorm, Fozzy, Chris Jericho's band. What's the other one from Michigan? God damn it, they're from Grand Rapids. I can't remember the name of their band now.
ICP.
No, not ICP. And actual musicians.
Oh right.
It's funny. My wife is related to Shaggy Two Dope too. I'm not joking about that. He's like a second cousin. I've never met him. I've met his brother. I've never met Shags. I always wanted to use that connection in wrestling, but I never did because I just felt like it wouldn't. I wouldn't. It wouldn't be right to just hey, I'm married to your cousin. Hook me up with a spot on one of your shows. I didn't operate like that.
Take the high road.
I did. For once in my life, I took the high road. What the fuck is the name of that band? It's going to kill me. Damn it. Anyway, see, I must not like them that much. I mean, I'm aware of their
remains.
No, they're from Grand Rapids. They're a newer. It's a relatively newer band. Anyway, so no, Greta Van Fleet is though. Like I remember seeing them open, and they were just like I kind of closed my eyes, basically because I was really high and drunk already, because we'd been there since noon. But they do that. It's like they're it's like dollar store Led Zeppelin. That's basically it right there. It's like, the joke where, Mom, can we have Led Zeppelin? We have Led Zeppelin at home. And it's like, no, we don't, no, we don't. So no, they were not, are they as good as everybody says they are? I mean, it's nostalgia they're playing on.
Yeah.
It's, because I love Led Zeppelin. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they're fucking amazing, but I like the real Led Zeppelin. It's like I like Metallica. I don't want to hear the cover band Ride the Lightning.
Yeah.
I don't fucking care. But yeah, so I listen to pretty much everything. Like I'll go from Donny Hathaway to ICP, and then back to fucking Smokey Robinson, and then put Garth Brooks on. I just it's what kind of mood I'm in. I just like music.
Yeah, I feel
That's
you there. It's the same way I'm kind of.
Yeah, it's just like a mood thing, And I go back. I always go back to like a lot of the stuff I listened to with like my mom and my grandma as a kid, which is a lot of like Sinatra and Dean Martin and stuff like that. And my kid likes the That's Life by Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
I play Sinatra all the time in the car, and he loves that now. So he's kind of hooked on it. I was like, I'm starting him out young, but got to instill that in him early. But let's see here. So we're going to talk now. We'll switch topics from music to cinema here, and we're going to talk a little bit about Avengers Endgame. It was a year ago today that I went to see the movie, and I have definitely viewed it through a different lens since I initially saw the movie. It's is it a good movie? I mean, I guess it's a fine piece of cinema. If you just want to sit back and be entertained at the green screen thing, which is it's a Marvel movie, and you've come to expect that. It's the 23rd movie, 22 that actually count in the now named Infinity Saga. So I have my gripes with it, and it mostly centers around, and we can kind of go through this point by point. The continuity issues that this movie caused are pretty. It's like a ripple effect. It's like throwing a pebble in a pond. You're always going to get those ripples, and it's going to cause those snags. And Endgame definitely did that.
A small price to pay for salvation.
And they, in one respect, they got what they wanted, because they got the highest grossing movie of all time. And I will say that they kind of earned it, because a lot of people it's cool to shit on the MCU now. That's the cool thing. I enjoy in the current state of it now, and I can totally understand where people are at there. Absolutely, I'm not discounting opinions at all. I love varying opinions, but what it was up to Endgame, outside of cat pan mediocre, which it really, the movie does not do any good anywhere. It really was meaningless. It was a cash grab, and it worked. But from moving forward here, I mean, the way I look at it is, should the MCU, I want to throw this out there. Should the MCU just start from scratch now, instead of trying to hold a continuity together after 10 years, 11 years?
Yes.
I think they should end it. I think it's done. I think I'm trying to think of the word. I'm missing the word. But I think the thrill of it is pretty much over. Like, they're never going to really build upon that thrill and that feeling that you had before you saw Infinity War. I just don't think it's possible now. I think other people are moving on to other things now. Hopefully DC does something in the future, but
yeah,
I just think the thrill's gone. For me, the thrill's gone. They did what they did with the end game. They I don't like the idea of them killing Stark up, but I just think most of the characters did what they did, and now the story's over.
Yeah.
It should, like, it's Disney's cash cow right now, so I don't see them like ending it. But I do agree that feeling of excitement. I don't think it's lost forever. They would just have to do some work, and they did some work to get us there the first time. 10 years worth of it. I do think they should stay away from agendas and just try to stay faithful to the source material, or at least the heart of it. But they could do reboots and just soft reboots. Elizabeth Olsen could still be in her role and so on. But they should do soft reboots to tell other stories. Like we have the Infinity Saga out of the way, but there's so much more out there that they could tell. And I just think it would be done better. Maybe they would have to recast an Iron Man, but whatever they would do, they would have to commit themselves 100% to it. They can't go in with 1 foot in the water. So a soft reboot, in my opinion, wouldn't be the worst idea.
That's kind of what I was thinking too. Go with that. Go with like a soft reboot of it. If not, just start from scratch. What do you think, Sal?
I feel like it's overstayed its welcome. 11 years is a long time, and 23 movies is a hell of an investment. It's returned. They've gotten their money, they've gone to the bank, and all that kind of stuff. And as we've seen with other properties that they own, it's one of the only things that's currently making them any kind of money. So they're going to keep milking it until everything else can get its legs out, from under it and all that kind of shit. But I don't think we'll ever see anything in the same scope from the MCU again. Like they've already talked about like Phase 4, Phase 5, and all this kind of shit. Now they're going to be like 4 years, 5 years. Like this is all considered, I don't know. It worked initially because we saw all these movies. There were like little hints and Easter eggs, but they didn't come out of the woodwork from the jump and say, "Oh, we're going to do an Avengers movie. Here's all the movies." That kind of started later, like to let people know, like, oh, there's going to be a second Avengers. Here's kind of what we have in between, and then they just started announcing like 5, 10 years down the road, and we've seen what happens when you make plans like that. Things happen. People get arrested for things. People die. Feelings get hurt, or someone digs up tweets from 20 years ago or something. I mean, not 20. Twitter wasn't around then, but like they dig up old tweets and people get fired over it, and then they get rehired, and then they move on to other projects, and it's just they do. People always talk about they killed Tony Stark and Captain America's old, and it's like okay, but those weren't A-listers. Like the MCU made them A-listers.
Exactly.
They've got plenty of like hundreds, if not thousands, of characters that they can do, and I'm not saying to scrape the bottom of the barrel like Shang-Chi. But
yeah, but they're taking Shang-Chi and then they're copying the Mortal Kombat movie and just putting the Shang-Chi characters into Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, we've seen that already. His name was Liu Kang.
Yep.
But it's just, I don't know. I feel like they always say it's better to burn out than to fade away.
Yes.
And they should have just gone out on a high note and been like, this is it. This is the end. And then let people have the discussions like that. I think that's what kept Star Wars alive. That was it. Episode 6 came out. That was it. And it was the fan discussions and the speculation, like, oh, what, you'd have the discussions in the comic book shops on Friday Night Magic and just talk about, like, what you think happened after the fall and all this kind of shit. And it kept the interest alive. And right now they're giving people too much. And they're telling them this is what happens instead of letting fans be like, oh, well, I think now that Thanos is gone, like, you have some, ostensibly some very powerful individuals, and the most they're going to deal with is some megalomaniac on planet Earth trying to, I don't know, blow up New York or something.
Yeah.
And that's not, you don't need a Captain Marvel for that. You need a Spider-Man or, a Punisher or someone street level for that.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're introducing, like they did in the 11th hour, like, and I have to acknowledge the fact that Captain Marvel is as strong as she is because they made her that way in the movies, but someone like that's not going to fit in on Earth and do like regular everyday crime fighting. So
yeah,
it's kind of like they swung for the fences with Thanos. They brought out one of the biggest bad, and it's like, how do you top it? You can't.
Yeah.
So unless you want to bring in Galactus or someone that's not inherently evil, he just eats planets because that's what he has to do to stay alive. But it's just kind of, I don't know. It's, as the Magic 8 Ball would say, outlook not good.
Well, I do believe they're going to bring in Galactus, you know,
Hmm.
but it's going to be um, a little bit down the road because they're going to bring him in probably in the Fantastic Four, I would say,
Yeah. Ugh.
because they're more that cosmic level, type, leaning that way anyway. I don't think that they can move forward with this. I really don't. And like you said, they've overstayed their welcome. And I absolutely feel that way. And it's like they do with a run of a comic. You get to the end, the denouement of the story. That's it, and then you start over. With a new story, you kind of hit the reset button. So I don't see why they just do that. Just
Hmm.
just reset the MCU. You don't need to carry the continuity from the past, 11 years and 23 movies.
Hmm.
You don't need to do that. That is a heavy beast of burden to carry. So just don't. Just
Hmm.
reset it, start it over. If you have some characters that carry over, fine. You can honestly, you can use them. You can still reference the past events, but you don't have to carry all the continuity, to the letter.
Do you mind if I edit my comments on it?
No, go ahead.
It's just, parts of the sex was fantastic, but towards the end there, we had a mediocre orgasm, and it's too early to go again.
Yep.
Hmm.
That's pretty on the nose.
Hmm. They should have let sleeping dogs lie and just kind of, you know, I've had these discussions with people at work who fancy themselves, Marvel fans, but they haven't read a single, not that you have to read every single comic book ever to consider yourself a Marvel fan, but at least a couple would help. And I got into we'll call it a discussion with someone at work about the Black Widow movie and how I was like, it looks like it's going to be good, but it should have come out probably 5, 6 years ago.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
And they're like, no, I think it's a perfect time because, we had to get to know Black Widow. We had to care. And I'm like, yeah, but she's going to live. And then she
Yeah.
dies in a different movie. Like, like you gave her this, poetic send off of her sacrificing herself to get the red out of her ledger and to try and redeem herself in her own eyes. And then you're just going to be like, oh, yeah, here's this movie that takes place between this and that one specifically. It's like, I'd be more interested in a Black Widow movie about Black Widow, like when she was a Russian agent and doing how she got all the red in her ledger, not
Yes.
just.
Yeah.
But that should have been done, post Iron Man 2 probably, like
Yes.
between Iron Man 2 and um, maybe a touch after Age of Ultron because she has that little flashback of going back to the Red Room.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been a good time to be like, okay, here's all this, so that way you can give her that proper redemption. So that way it has more of a punch, like she, did good. That's why she's, an Avenger. But I don't know. It's one of those like, she's popular, she makes money, right? Either that, or it's one of those where they signed so many movie deals with her, and they're like, oh fuck,
Mm-hmm.
we still owe her a movie, and it's cheaper to pay her to be in it than it is to fucking pay out her contract.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. I look at it. I look at it like you're absolutely right, Sal. That movie should have come out probably right before Ultron. Was that
Mhm.
2014?
15.
Hey,
15?
Darth Tico's in the chat. What's up, man?
Hey, hail Darth Tico. Long time no see, my friend. Thank you for joining us this evening. I do appreciate it. We are absolutely having a great show. We're talking about the MCU and whether we think they should move on as is or kind of hit that reset button and go back to the beginning. You can carry your characters back if there's characters left from the Infinity Saga. They're obviously
Hmm.
more than welcome to stay in the continuity, but you don't have to follow it by the letter of the law. You can reference the past events, but you're not beholden to them. That's the main thing I think that is hurting them is people wouldn't complain so much about the retcons. You wouldn't have that. Now,
Hmm.
the, towards the end, like I said, Captain Marvel, there was unnecessary retcons at
Hmm.
the end of a saga to try to shoehorn her in and make people care. Now, you can't make people care about a character. That's organic. you know, like you said, these characters, you know, Iron Man and Thor, you know, Captain America, the Avengers, they weren't A-listers. The Avengers were not an A-list team. They weren't the Fantastic Four in the comics is the A-listers. That's the first family. That's why they're called the first family of Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like the other thing that they're doing, and what's kind of hurting them really, is that not everybody has to be an Avenger.
Exactly.
It's like every fucking time, like it seems like every person they introduce, oh, they gotta be a part of the Avengers now, and it's like they don't though. Like you can, they got to do more standalone movies. Like, oh, this takes place in that universe, and like you said, and like how the Netflix series did it. Like they'll mention the incident in New York, or they'll say like, well, I'm not some guy with a hammer that can summon lightning. I'm just a guy.
Yeah, like a Daredevil.
Right, and they should do that. They should have more standalone movies where they reference things like, the snap or whatever they called it,
Blip.
and it's just, have it be a movie, let it stand on its own legs, and then you can build miniature franchises and then tie them together later if you want to.
Thank you, Leo Red.
They won't do that though.
Hey.
No.
No, they won't. They won't do that. No, that would be the smart thing to do, Sal. You're absolutely right, dude. You know, you can. That's the thing is like that. That's why the Infinity Saga worked so well, was because they weren't really trying for that at first. It was more or less, let's string these together and hey, your crossovers in, and we'll see where it goes. And it wound up being, it was good for the most part. It was really good. I'm very disappointed that we're not getting another Guardians of the Galaxy movie for another 3 years. What part 2 came out in 2017. You're waiting 5-6 years for a sequel. Now that sounds like the 80s in certain franchises. It's like you got a movie in like 85, then you get another until like 91. So that's making them wait. So it might draw, it might not. But this is the problem: is they were talking that this is going to be the last iteration of this team. So moving forward, I wouldn't do any more Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I just stop. I would just stop. And if you want to have some of the characters, if they want to stick around and reprise their role, if there's room for them in story arcs, so be it. They don't have to definitively be one of the Guardians of the Galaxy. They can be a standalone character or a side character in another movie, and it'd work just fine.
Mm-hmm. No, that's the other thing is that while characters and superheroes in comics don't age, these actors definitely fucking do.
Mm-hmm.
Like Zoe Saldana and Chris Pratt are already. I think Zoe Saldana is already what, like 42?
Yeah,
like that?
Chris Pratt's my age. Yeah, he's 40.
So they're only gonna get older. You know what I mean? And like I don't even know. Batista's probably what, 45, mid 40s.
Oh yeah, he's mid 40s.
And so they're asking these people to stay in shape that long, and like Batista. I mean, he was a professional wrestler, so I'm sure it's nothing out of the ordinary for him.
Yep.
But still, it's like, what was it? Hugh Jackman said that he wanted to walk away from Wolverine because he was tired of breaking his body to get in shape for the roles.
Yeah. He was fucking shredded like all the time.
Do you mind if I just Batista is 51?
Holy
Good
shit!
Lord.
Yeah.
God damn.
Wow.
And only because I remember hearing he was in his 40s when he was wrestling. He got a late start in the business.
Yeah, so
you got
extrapolate that. 5 years from now, that puts him in 56.
Yeah.
So it's just it's a little absurd.
Yep.
So, but people like Bradley Cooper or Vin Diesel, their character's 100% CGI, so it's not that big of a deal.
Exactly.
So I think the youngest member right now is I can't pronounce her last name, Pomclamtiev or something, however it's said. The
Palm Clementine.
The girl who plays Mantis is 32.
Well, how old's Karen Gillian's about that age, isn't she? She in her early 30s?
I forgot that her character lived. I keep remember how she got killed in Endgame, but the other one lived. Which was weird that they killed the past version of Nebula and the future one didn't die.
I know.
But
they don't use the Back to the Future. She's Karen Gillan is 32.
Okay. So there's two of them that are in their 30s and could feasibly play that role for another 10 years.
Yep.
But the other ones, they're going to age out really fast.
Yeah.
So,
You know,
I mean, nothing against older people, but I don't think anyone wants to see old Star-Lord and old Gamora running around trying to beat
Yeah.
cheeks.
yeah.
So,
Chadwick Boseman, and I think this works out in his case. Chadwick Boseman is 42,
Yep.
and he looks young, but in his case, I think it would work because if he got a little gray hair going by, let's say, maybe the third movie, I mean, it would help with the king role of his character. It would, make him seem like a wise king. But yeah, like Gamora, Star-Lord, I mean, they're on jetpacks fighting monsters in space. I mean, yeah. After a couple years, it's going to be a little weird.
That is just like, yeah, I don't want to see 56-year-old Dave Bautista out there. He'd look like Ric Flair by that point.
Hey, then again, you got Arnold out there still trying to be Conan and Terminator. So
This is true.
yeah. This
Arnold
isn't
is
a slight
Arnold.
against Batista at all, but Arnold's name carries that gravitas.
Yep.
Like, people know what they're getting themselves into with Arnold.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. This is also fact. I mean, that's Arnold.
He's an icon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Batista's not quite an icon.
No. I do like him as Drax. I think he's hilarious.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just kind of like, I don't know. It's just like I wouldn't want to see Lucy Lawless come back and try to be Xena.
Yeah.
No.
You know what I mean? That is
No.
Lucy Lawless, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I mean, she's still a very attractive woman at her age, but I don't want to see her play Xena anymore.
No, I don't want to see her get in that skimpy outfit at her age, jumping around and stuff. Just like, like Arnold. Anytime, well, I think the third Terminator was like the last time you saw him shirtless without CGI to cover up that weird face he's developing on his abdomen.
Yep.
So it's like anytime you see him as the Terminator, it's all CGI and shit, and it's not that big a deal. Just like I don't think John Rambo's taken off his shirt in a while.
No.
yeah,
But I don't know. It's some characters you can do it with, some you can't. And superheroes, especially superheroes that are supposed to be, forever young. You can't do that.
Yep.
It was just like Chris Pratt sort of putting on his weight again, which they acknowledged.
Yeah.
He's like, Quill, you're one sandwich away from being fat, and he's like, what?
Yep.
And that's why he didn't take his shirt. Like you could see the leather jacket was tight around his middle on purpose and shit.
Yep.
So I don't know. Like if you know who Andy Dwyer is, he was a Super Chunk Deluxe.
Yep. Yeah, Andy. That's why when Chris Pratt, when I first saw him as Star-Lord, because he, the first movie he slimmed down. I mean, even for Jurassic World, he got in shape. Like it was like he was because what the hell magazine was that, like Us US Weekly or Us Weekly or whatever. My wife used to subscribe to that. And I'd sit there and read it, and I'm looking through. I'm like, wow, dude, he really changed because Andy Dwyer was always like just a chubby goofball. That's who he was. And I was like, well, good for you, man. Because like Chris Pratt is literally, he's like my age. We're like within like a couple months of each other, I believe, as far as age goes. I wish the bank accounts were as close. That'd be nice. But it is what it is. But no, man, he did. He kind of got nits with him and as it Hemsworth. They're making the jokes with him being kind of fat and all that. And yeah, that's another one. Chris Hemsworth that dude is in phenomenal fucking shape. Like, say what you want about the Thor character, but I give props. I haven't watched his movie. Was it Extraction yet? Steve, I saw you said that you did a review of it. I don't want to watch any reviews yet because I haven't watched the movie, but I do respect the hell out of that guy's dedication because he is a fucking beast. Like, I will give like all the respect in the world to that because I know how hard that is to do. I'm just too fucking lazy. I mean, if somebody was like, "Hey, you're gonna be in this movie. You gotta play pretend. You're gonna be the God of Thunder. You need to work out 7 days a week. Here's a personal trainer and a dietitian, and like $8, $9, $10 million plus residuals." I think I would. Okay, I'll live in the gym. For a year or 6 months before the movie starts. Training, doing all that shit. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, if I had that kind of money and like designated people, absolutely.
you know, I did that shit before when I was wrestling, just because I was like, I want to wrestle with my fucking shirt off, you know.
Mhm.
So I was like, I have to dedicate myself to this, and it's not easy, but it's definitely worth it, you know. So
I miss the gym.
Like,
I,
I do too.
I
I
miss
have a
Jim Halpert as well.
well, you can. I would say you can watch him on YouTube, but I don't want to give his channel any plugs. The motherfucker's got like 90 million subscribers.
Facts.
That is, man. That is. Leo Red. Oh, RTM animals here and roids. Yeah, he probably does. He probably. I don't think he takes steroids. He's probably on like some HGH or some shit like that, like
Mhm.
some light stuff. He doesn't
He's
really need like full blown roids. There's so many different like anabolics and like Dynabol and shit you can do. Not
no,
that I know or condone, but
he takes his pre-workout, he eats clean, and drinks only the finest of Cambodian breast milks.
he's got that Ray Lewis antler spray. If y'all remember Ray Lewis using that fucking antler spray, as Steve's laughing, he knows what I'm talking about.
I remember.
Let's see. Leo Red. Tom Holland has the best in shape ass. That's the fucking Brie Larson's jealous because you know Tom Holland's got a better ass than her.
Mm-hmm.
That meme was so funny when that goddamn Captain Marvel came out. It's like this is why the universe isn't fair.
Yeah.
I don't think these actors get in shape that fast.
Nah, they really don't.
No.
There's something else. Unless
Yep.
they're spending 12-hour days in the gym, and even then, like, their body has to recover. It's that recovery process that allows you to gain more muscle mass.
Yep,
No.
because you're building in your off time. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you're working out, you're tearing down your muscle fibers. That's you know, a lot of people lift and they don't eat. You don't have protein or anything after your post workout, and it's like, well, you're defeating the purpose of working out then.
Mm-hmm.
Admiral Tiberius, Tom Hardy, dude, Tom Hardy. I didn't like the Bane character in the Batman movie, but that motherfucker, he was a monster. He's only like 5'7", 5'8". He got jacked for that. So, you know, props to Tom Hardy for that, man, because he's not a spring chicken either.
Mm-mm.
He's maybe 41, 42 now, you know, and he's got it a little bit easier playing Eddie Brock now because most of the shit they do is mocap and CGI, you know, for Venom. So,
Mm-hmm.
but so the MCU, I mean, I think we pretty much come to the conclusion that they should just end it.
Yeah.
Just end it where it is, and you know, you pick up a new saga. You know, like I said, like in the comics, you know, you have your individual books, and then you have your team up. You know, so you don't need to do, you know, every time you have to, oh, this is going to be 20 some movies. You know, you could do like a 5-movie arc. You know, make them mini stories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be dragged out for 20 years.
No.
Yeah, that's what you do. You make mini stories like that, 2-3 movies tops, and
Yep.
then later, like without saying anything, you're just like, oh, by the way, all those movies, they're all connected now, and here's why. And then you make the money back off DVD sales and Blu-ray sales and digital download and all that stuff. So, because if you make it like, oh, this is a 2-3 movie arc about, I don't know, Scarlet Witch, War Machine, and fucking, I don't know, Nebula or something.
Mm-hmm.
People who like them will go see them. People who don't will skip it because it doesn't play into the larger picture. And then have an Avengers movie just be announced after all that's said and done, and then be like, oh yeah, stuff that happened in this movie is pertinent, and then people will go back and watch it and buy it and all that. And that's how you make a sleeper hit.
Yep. Yeah, man. You know, it would just make more sense that way. You know, you develop these shorter story arcs, you know, on a smaller scale, and it works better. I think it would work better. You know, you don't have to. That way, there's not so many. You know, it's like juggling. You know, you don't have so many balls in the air at the same time. You're worried about one of them falling. It really makes it more manageable to write and book the stories. It really does.
Mm-hmm.
We can kind of circle back to Endgame with that now because we kind of talked about Endgame for a minute and then went right into the MCU, which I really didn't want to do until later, but that's fine. We can connect the two and then we'll go to the Star Wars before the go home. And so Endgame now, we were talking about the MCU as a whole, the continuity issues the movie caused. Now, I just want to look at the movie.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of look at it in a bubble,
Mm-hmm.
I guess. Now, to me, I kind of look at Endgame like almost it's almost a parallel to the Rise of Skywalker, except it was obviously successful. Like I said, Rise of Skywalker made $1 billion, but I mean, Spider-Man: Far From Home made $1 billion, and that's a steaming pile of excrement. So, you know, it just I could not stand that. I don't like that movie. I like Tom Holland as Spider-Man, but in Endgame, you know, I just, you know, he wasn't really in it, you know, obviously till the end. I don't I don't like what they did with a lot of the character arcs in Endgame. I didn't care for it at all.
Hmm. It was like they hit a hard reset on the old Super Nintendo or something.
Yeah. Yep.
Hmm.
We don't like the way the game's going. Just press the button.
Yep.
So it also felt like, and it's been talked to death, but it felt like three different movies. Like
Yes.
each
Yeah.
act was like a different movie. Like I really loved the first act,
Mhm.
like how everyone was kind of downtrodden and watching like all the fallout from what happened.
Yes.
The second act with all the time travel was a little like you had to suspend your disbelief quite a bit for it. And then the third act was just supposed to be like, oh, here's the last 10 years coming to a head.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
I really hated the time travel. And, it was just too easy to use the time travel. Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna undo everything by using time travel. I said, that's the most lazy device you can use in a movie. Time
Yeah.
travel.
mm-hmm.
That's your MacGuffin right there.
Yep.
Was the Pym particles and the time travel, you know, your quantum realm stuff, which
Right.
I didn't mind the quantum realm stuff in Ant-Man and the Wasp
Mm-hmm.
because it made sense to the individual story. It wasn't, you know, I mean, I mean, you could argue it's kind of a MacGuffin in that movie too, but it didn't totally wipe out anything else that, you know, within reason in the movie, you know, that would lead to your story. You know, it was like this, you know, Hank invented this thing, you know, so, but I don't know. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, Steve. I absolutely agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
It just amounts to it's tantamount to lazy writing is what it is. And I think a lot of movies rely on that, you know, the time travel, and it falls back to lazy writing.
You know, in defense of the writing, and in defense of a soft reboot, I also think there were too many mitigating factors to do anything exciting or to take any risks. They had to follow everything that came before, and they had
Yeah.
to set up for for the next few years of the MCU. And you know, if they could have, if they would have had the freedom to make, you know, maybe they wanted to kill off Thor. You know, if they would have had the freedom to not have to worry about the next movie or the next year, I think the, you know, writing team and even the Russo brothers could have done a bit of a better job with Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah. They could have.
Yep. Well, the writers, was it Marcus and McFeely that wrote Endgame?
I think so.
It was. I do believe it was. And you know, Sal said, it's three movies. It really is.
Yep.
And the first act is great. You know, the third act, I really liked a lot about that final battle scene, but there were a lot of cringe elements too. We're gonna get to. You know, the middle act, there was a lot of it, like the Professor Hulk stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, and I know Steve doesn't either. I don't like this. I don't like Professor Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like wimpy fucking Hulk. I mean, and that's what he is basically, is wimpy Hulk.
Yeah.
And it's pathetic that you do that to, you know, a character that was, you know, has an iteration called World Breaker.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and now, you know, he's afraid of Thanos basically. You know, I mean, it was painful to watch because the Hulk has really never had proper justice done to that character in the MCU. You know, in some of the movies, you know, in Avengers, he was good. You know, he's cool. You know, Ultron, cool. Infinity War, obviously, he was non-existent after the first act. You know, basically, you know, he wore the Hulk Buster suit, so you didn't see Hulk. We had, you know, Mark Ruffalo, which who the fuck wants to see Mark Ruffalo? I mean, let's be honest. I don't really think Mark Ruffalo has that big of a fan base. It's not you know, the Twitterati.
He looks like a sponge.
I think if I'm not mistaken, oh, shut the hell up. Sorry, loud neighbors. I feel like the most screen time outside of the Hulk movie was probably Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
Because in the first Avengers, he's in like the first 10 minutes when they're going around and Black Widow finds him, and then he doesn't show
Yep.
up till the Deus Ex Machina at the end of that little Vespa.
Yeah.
So
Well, I don't know how much. I have to look and see how much screen time he had in Ragnarok.
Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
Because he was in Ragnarok a lot.
Yeah.
But and that's the thing is with that, it's like, I heard, and I did a video on it a while ago, that they bought the rights back from Universal to the Hulk, and now it's like, did you though? Because they said they got Namor and the Hulk, and I want to talk about Namor in a little bit. I have a specific side set aside for Namor, because it's going to relate to Black Panther, because the Wakandans were the first ones that snapped back or came through the portals on the battlefield in Endgame, and I want to talk about that movie because there's a lot going on with Chadwick Boseman behind the scenes right now.
Mm-hmm.
Which some of it is kind of, I haven't seen any updates, but it's kind of scary because he didn't look well. He looked like he lost, a ton of weight.
Yeah.
He was dead for 5 years.
I guess if you get reduced to, ash for 5 years, yeah, you're going to come back and you're going to be a little bit, maybe a little bit ashy, a little bit skinny, I mean, it's going to happen. But I mean, no, seriously, like he didn't look well, and it was like, I heard there was some contract disputes, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But so, I mean, you look at the rest of the cast, like Captain America now, Captain America's old, he's gone. You've got the Falcon and Winter Soldier show, which, Falcon, Anthony Mackie's character, Sam, he's taken up the mantle, he's got the shield. They did it in the books. I don't have. I mean, I really don't have a problem with it. I like Anthony Mackie. I like the Falcon character.
Mm-hmm.
Bucky, and there was a big push for Bucky to take the mantle. I'm sorry, he was a better heel. He's kind of been boring as a good guy, and I was hoping, before Infinity War came out, I was hoping that Anthony Mackie would eventually. I like Falcon. I'd watch. I'm gonna watch that. As burnt out as I am on the MCU, I'm looking forward to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so I don't mind him taking the mantle either.
Oh,
yeah. I've said before that, and I think it's been said before as well, that my big thing with it is, who the hell is Bucky now?
Yeah.
Like, if Falcon is now Captain America, is it, what's his superhero name? He's Bucky. And people are like, oh, well, he's the Winter Soldier. I'm like, oh, you mean the guy that was globally renowned as a terrorist and blew up people and all that?
He killed Tony Stark's parents,
Yeah, that'll go over well. Like, give him the shield, let him be Captain America and redeem himself, at least in the public's eye in that universe.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It does. It definitely does. And that's the problem, is you have, without the shield, Falcon, Sam Wilson is still Falcon.
Mm-hmm. He still has the drone, still has the wings.
Yeah. And like you put it perfectly. Bucky is just Bucky. He was Steve's, he's his best friend.
Mm-hmm.
They grew up together. He's not, now, oh, well, Steve's gone, now I'm your buddy. It's like, I mean, they obviously they're friends, but at the same time, he doesn't have the same dynamic with Sam he had with Steve. You can have you can't try to write it like it's Cap and Bucky again. You have to write it like it's Sam and Bucky.
The line, and there has to be the line where he's like, I'm your Buckleberry.
That would be fucking beautiful. But no, so I mean, that's one, and I'm looking forward to Wanda, the WandaVision show. I like, I mean, obviously Elizabeth Olsen, but I like the character Scarlet Witch, and I really liked Vision. So, to see a little bit more of them, even if it's in this way, and I like the concept because she can obviously create different realities.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like the concept of them kind of bouncing around to these different sitcom styles, from throughout the years. And it's going to play right into Doctor Strange too, which I'm holding out a glimmer of hope for, that it'll still be good, even though it's going to be a, probably a typical MCU formulaic movie, because we lost the hopes of it being a horror movie when Kevin Feige was like, Scott Derrickson, San Diego last year, and he was like, and it's going to be a horror movie. Kevin Feige's like, no, it's rated PG-13. PG-13. Still going to be funny.
There's
Quip,
plenty
quip,
of
quip.
horror movies that are PG-13.
Exactly.
Now, here's something, and this is something I've thought about. It's probably been discussed before, but my brain likes to think that it thinks of things before anyone else because, ego. Um, Something that I think would be a nice twist, because I'm not interested in WandaVision, because I'm like, Vision died. He's gone.
Yeah.
Now, something that would be fun, and a really big twist, if they don't even acknowledge it through the whole show until like the last episode, because she can alter reality.
Yes.
I want the last episode to her just like the reality just kind of breaks, and you see her that she's just like this, distraught, like destroyed human being, and all this is her conjuring it up to try and replace Vision, because that's how the House of M story arc was, when she said no more mutants and like more than half the X-Men disappeared.
Yeah.
Because she was warping reality to make it to where her kids never died. So, and that was like a mental break she had, and that's when she basically broke down and said no more mutants, and more than half of them lost their powers and just disappeared. So that's what I would like to see, is where someone finally is like, Wanda, like, you gotta, and then she just has this mental break, and that creates the mutants. Because she doesn't want to be alone.
That's an interesting concept.
They won't do it, but
No, they won't.
I think that would be great.
It would. It absolutely would be. Oh, go ahead, Steve.
No, I said they won't do it because it's I can't even think of the word I want to say.
It's too
Not
ambitious.
Yes, there you go. Too ambitious.
They have to be on the light side of things. They can't possibly go into someone who lost, her brother, lost her lover, lost everything, and has nobody, because now there's no one like her. Everyone else has their, Thor's a god, or, they're an alien, or got their power from a Tesseract explosion, because they somehow, as a human being, survived that, even though other human beings were vaporized just by touching it. So she's like a unique person to that world, where she was given her powers through something else, and she has no one else to, kind of confide in or be like. So she gets so tired of being alone without Vision there that she just has a mental snap, says whatever she says, like, screams, I don't want to be alone, or something, and then just poof, all the X-Men, just not all, but like just the mutants show up, or people start mutating or whatever, and that's how you have your soft reboot with the X-Men.
That'd work.
So, and I'd like to see that kind of carry on into I keep wanting to say the Mountain of Madness, but that's the H.P. Lovecraft, the Multiverse of Madness or whatever.
Yep, multiverse.
Have her be a reluctant heel in that show or that movie, where she didn't do anything inherently bad, kind of like Bucky in Winter Soldier and Civil War, where he was still kind of messed up in the head and wasn't in full control of what he was doing. Just have it be like she becomes, clearly a hero again by the end of it, but she's struggling through a lot of stuff and, maybe doing some bad things, but doesn't mean to be.
Yep.
Kind of struggling with herself a little bit. But they won't do that, because that requires them to go down a path that's not all light, friendly, and happy.
Yeah. They can't have jokes every 10 seconds.
Right.
We want jokes. We want more jokes. None of this horror stuff. More jokes. Can't stand it sometimes.
And that's it. The humor has its place, but it doesn't have to be every 3 minutes you get a quip. It just doesn't. You can. That's what I liked about the Fox X-Men universe. It did so many things right with that, because there was. I mean, really, you don't remember those movies for the jokes. The good ones you remember because the action, the character development, the compelling nature, the stories, and the character arcs. Marvel, it's like, oh man, there was Star-Lord said this to, Drax and da-da-da, and then Thor was making fun of Star-Lord for being fat, and it's like, I mean,
even then the sorry, Pete, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say some of it's funny and it does make me laugh, but I don't want it all the time.
And that's like, there are jokes in the X-Men movies, but even the jokes are only jokes if you get it.
Yep.
Like in the very first one, he's like, "You guys wear those?" And he's like, "What would you prefer, yellow spandex?"
Yes.
And it's like, at that time, Wolverine wasn't a household name, so people are like, "What?" But if you know Wolverine traditionally wears yellow, it's like, "Oh, I get it. It's funny." Or like, "Wait, it's me. Prove it. You're a dick." Okay. Like that. Like some of that stuff, it's funny, and or what is it when they're God, Age of Apocalypse, I think, when they're leaving the movie theater in the mall and they're walking out of Return of the Jedi. And they're like, well, I think we can all agree that the third one is always the worst. And they're talking about X-Men Last Stand.
Uh,
Yeah.
So, like, there are jokes, but you have to, like, be in the know to get the joke. Whereas this is kind of like, fart joke. I'll be here all week.
Yep.
yep.
You know, like
Exactly.
like in the original Avengers, the shawarma thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was
yeah, that was good.
that was all right, you know.
And
But
improvised.
yeah, you know, that was funny because it wasn't like he just said, "Hey, we should go," and then it's like they turn into a post-credit scene. You know, that was funny.
It was something you could relate to because who doesn't want something to eat after a hard day at work, you know?
Exactly. Exactly, man. It was funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's my whole thing with the way it is now is I don't need to be inundated with a joke, you know, like I said, every so many minutes. It's like let the tension, let the action build and let the tension, you know, go. Let the story work and the writing do its part and the actors, interpretations of the emotions, carry the story. Of course you can have a joke every now and then, absolutely, but don't break up a serious scene just for some asinine fucking quip. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Because that really kills the momentum of a scene.
The beginning of Infinity War when Thor says you talk too much.
Yep.
That's always my default thought.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of do like Tony Stark when he first met the Guardians on Titan.
Yeah.
He was talking to here's my plan and all that stuff. That was funny to me.
Yes. Well, it works with Tony Stark because
Yeah.
Tony Stark is just this arrogant, narcissistic playboy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's his style, but not every character can pull that off.
No.
Yep.
It goes back to my whole thing about Justice League when they trying to do that with Batman. See, you can't joke with Batman like that. Can't bring Tony Stark jokes into Batman.
No.
He's not that type of character.
Nope. No, Bruce Wayne and Tony Stark are polar opposites.
Yeah.
I mean,
don't know why I was just saying, I don't know why Josh Whedon even decided to do that, because I know that was him who decided to bring that joke into there. So, but go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, they do have similarities, but at the same time, they couldn't be further apart with their, personalities at the end of the spectrums. They're just opposite ends totally. It's night and day. Batman is always this dark, brooding, when he says something that comes off as funny, it's delivered deadpan.
Yeah.
It's a flat delivery, and it's just funny because of the way he delivers it. That's what makes it funny. It's not he was trying to be humorous.
Yeah. It's kind of like situational humor more than quips.
Yes.
That's why I never got why people talked about DC was too dark. I'm like, do you understand? Half those characters are like, especially Batman, are really like traumatized. So there's really gonna be no Tony Stark type of stuff going on, no jokey going on with like Spider-Man. Maybe you might get it with the Flash, Barry Allen, or Wally West, but you're not gonna get it with like Batman or something like that.
I bought the bank.
That's tough. But yeah, DC is its own thing and Marvel is its own thing. So that's how I always think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead, Pete.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, they don't need to be exactly the same. They don't need to mirror each other.
No, I don't.
Individuality, is what makes things great. Not everything needs to be the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's. Well, I feel like that's how they tried it at first with all the kind of the dark, gritty stuff at DC, but I think they went way too hard on that. Like, Superman is one of those hard IPs where a lot of people don't like the truth, justice, and the American way. Like they don't like that version of Superman. They want a dark, gritty version of Superman. But the same people who do want the truth, justice, American way Superman are like he's supposed to be a beacon of hope. He's supposed to be above reproach. Why are you making him all fucking moody and gloomy? So I think there's no pleasing people, when it comes to that kind of stuff. And I think because they went so hard on the doom and gloom version of DC, they think that's why it wasn't successful. And they look at Marvel, who's all, it's comedy time with a few punches, and so they're like, oh, well, let's try that. Which they did that somewhat in Aquaman. It was a bit more lighthearted, especially in comparison to the other ones. And I liked Aquaman. I liked it quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that works for someone like Jason Momoa, knowing his like personality, because he's very, out in the public, out in front, and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, okay, it's more believable that he'd be a little more lighthearted.
Mm-hmm.
But it's that's not going to work for someone like Batman, who 30 years later still hung up on his parents getting shot in that alley. So
yeah. Yeah, that doesn't exactly work with it's not translatable to every character. I really enjoyed Aquaman. I'm not gonna lie, man. I did. That movie beyond crossed a billion. But that's one where you don't look at it and it made a billion and you're like, really? I mean, it was like, hey, it was a solid movie. And I mean, one of the best characters in that movie was goddamn Willem Dafoe.
Mm-hmm.
He riding on a fucking shark. I mean,
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna watch that movie this week.
Yeah, have you not seen it yet?
I'm gonna put my bias of Amber Heard aside, and I'm gonna watch because I like Jason Momoa. I tried not to like the guy, but he's a good man. So I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna watch Aquaman this week.
Mm-hmm. It's really enjoyable.
Yeah, I was gonna say he really strikes me as somebody who like you could sit down and have a beer and like a hell of a conversation with. He'd be like really cool to just chill with,
Yeah.
I want to ask him. So, what's it like being married to a woman that's old enough to be your mother?
Who is he married to?
Demi Moore.
Yeah, just like Ashton Kutcher. No, fuck. I completely brain farted her name just now.
Hey, I'll look it up.
Yeah, I got it. You go ahead.
Oh no, so no, I'm looking forward to the second Aquaman, but I mean, I don't know. Steve, do you know when that one's coming out?
I have no clue. I think they said 2022, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was 2022 because Shazam 2 is not coming out till 2023.
My mistake. She's not old enough to be his mom, but she is like 12 years older than him. It's Lisa Monet.
Yeah.
Hey, it's 2020. She's old enough to be his mom.
It's true.
She has an OnlyFans.
Hell yeah. But she's Zoe Kravitz's mom.
Okay. Isn't Zoe Kravitz in the new Batman movie?
I think she's playing Catwoman, yeah.
Yeah.
I knew her as, God, what was her fucking name? She was in X-Men First Class, the chick with the bug wings. Sprite, I think. I can't think of her fucking name.
Okay.
Well, the character name anyway.
Yeah.
Angel. Duh.
Okay. All right. I couldn't remember. I was like, what the hell? I was like, I know I've seen her in something. I was like, I can't remember what she was in though. Okay. All right. So yeah, Lisa Bonet she was on the Cosby Show.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. One of the daughters.
She's 52.
Yep, he's 40.
Yeah, well, that'll last till she falls off the cliff and, hits that wall, kind of like Ashton and Demi.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think I remember reading, like, it was an interview or something where he was talking about how he used to watch her on the Cosby Show and had a crush on her and shit like that. And I'm like, that's romantic or creepy, depending on how you look at it. Depending on how you align your sights in life. That's either like, oh, wow, he's loved her for so long, or like, wow, dude,
Yeah.
That's obsessive. It depends on if you're a millennial or not, I guess.
I don't know. I really I don't know. I don't know. What do you say in the chat? Is it if you think it's creepy, hit F in the chat. If you think him having a crush on her as a kid and then eventually marrying her is creepy. But so back to kind of draw it back to Endgame a little bit. Before we switch topics here, because we're getting a little long in the tooth on this. We'll talk about the third act a little bit, and to kind of relate it back to our previous discussion about the Hulk, Captain Marvel was punched out of the movie, by Thanos in a scene that was supposed to be the Hulk's rematch with Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how disappointing is that? You find that out, and it's like, why did this happen? Why did this happen? Oh yeah, that's right. Kevin Feige's got a thing for that slice of cheese.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was bad. The cool thing about this third act was the fight scene with Thor, Tony, Cap, and Thanos. That was, that was pretty. It was very visually stunning to see that. Did you guys all go see? You guys all went and saw this in the theater, right?
Yeah.
What, Endgame?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what was like when you saw like when Cap finally got to say, Avengers Assemble, like did that hit anybody else in the fields? Because it did me.
Oh yeah.
Because they teased it, so long. He finally got to say it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kind of remind me of Lord of the Rings, the last bit of Return of the King.
A little bit,
But,
yeah.
Yeah, Aragorn leading everybody out. That's what it kind of reminded me of when I first saw that.
Okay. And I wanted to go and talk about obviously, Tony, his sacrifice. I really didn't think they should have killed him off. I mean, he could have ridden off into the sunset without dying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then it could have made just as much sense. They didn't have to kill him off. I mean, I personally think, they killed him off because they didn't want to pay him anymore. As much as
I believe that.
I really do, because Robert Downey Jr.'s made almost $1 billion just off the MCU.
It's well earned.
Oh yeah, it was. And that man has had a hell of a career. He's had his ups and downs, but he's had a hell of a career. And I don't know. I really wish they could have kind of left the door open, for him to maybe make another appearance, but he's getting up there too. He's getting old. So it's like, but his is mostly CG anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
You don't have to do much.
No, and you can have somebody else do his mocap when he's in the suit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what he does.
Yeah. Because
Like
that's
that.
Sean Gunn does a lot of the mocap for Rocket, and I can't remember who else. Groot is it too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, and he still plays his role, which is an ancillary character, but I mean, still you're playing three characters, so you can have somebody else step in and do that if you don't want to do it,
Mm-hmm.
just do your regular lines, and you be Tony Stark and somebody else will be Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
Just to add to that, if you see like some of the behind the scenes, when he's in the suit, when he has his mask up and in the suit, only the suit covers goes to like his chest or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and he doesn't have to really do that much. I never heard of him really having a stuntman for it, of course, because
No.
most of it's in CGI, so he doesn't have to do much.
I'm gonna say he's had pictures before of him like with the guy who actually is Iron Man, because when you see him like that with the stuff on his shoulders, that's just like the stuff where he's like, you see his face inside the armor or whatever, or if he's walking around. Otherwise, like when the face mask is down and he's flying around and doing shit, it's some other guy. So
Yeah, that's fine. Do it that way. Make it easy on them, but don't expect that full-fledged payday anymore after Doolittle bombed so hard either. You're not going to fetch that that much anymore. But I mean, he could easily take a pay cut and still, I mean, he's not hurting at all, not even a little bit. So. And he's been in the game long enough. He knows how to manage his money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a thing. You know, he's not a, you know, he's not a young 20-year-old who's out, you know, balling out buying. I'm sure he's got his luxury items, but I'm sure they're mostly probably all paid for too.
Yeah, I'd say that I think he's wise enough to know that he was extremely, hashtag blessed and lucky to have
Yep.
this comeback. And
Yeah.
I think even if he does just kind of like fade off and not make movies anymore, I think he knows like, he's already made his huge mistakes and in the public eye, so he
Yep.
knows like
Yeah.
what to do this time.
There was a point where he was probably ready to kill himself, just thinking about the opportunity he had in Blue. So, yeah, basically be one of the most, again, one of the most recognizable and liked actors in the world, and, be the face of what basically became Hollywood for a few years there. I mean, he was definitely lucky and definitely blessed.
Yeah. They really, I mean, he became Tony Stark. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. was Tony Stark for like a decade.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like they were almost like inseparable, you know, the character and the man. But and that's to his credit, because he really made that role his own. And like Sal said, that was his redemption story.
Yeah.
He got that opportunity. And a lot of these actors don't get it, or they squander it if they do get it. So that's the problem, is they're too short-sighted to realize, you know, that this isn't guaranteed. Your fame is not guaranteed to last.
Yeah.
So now Endgame, you know, the very end, you know, the snap by Tony that takes Thanos out, it was a fitting end to the character. Like I said, I would have rather seen a little bit of a scrape up at least with the Hulk, but you know, it was a fitting way to end. I didn't, you know, really want Tony to die at the end, and some asshole in my Facebook feed spoiled it for me, and I'd avoided spoilers for days, and somebody I literally just added back, you know, posted that Iron Man died. I was like, God bless it. Are you kidding me? I was so pissed. I was so pissed.
I actually turned off all my social media before seeing that. I said, nope, because somebody spoiled Age of Ultron, not Rise of Skywalker, but Force Awakens, Infinity War. I'm like, that's it. I'm turning off this social media for a minute.
Well, shit. Reddit spoiled the Rise of Skywalker. The goddamn, I watched the ending to the movie the day it premiered because somebody put it on Twitter.
Oh, I did the same thing too. I saw that whole Emperor doing this whole thing. I was like, oh, that looks terrible.
Oh yeah, as soon as he said I'm all the Sith and she said I'm all the Jedi, I just sat back and I was like, and I'm Iron Man, and I snapped my fucking fingers. I'm like, so this is just a straight copy. This is what we're doing now, really? You know, Disney, just because you own both of them doesn't mean you can rip one off the other and nobody's gonna notice. You do have a crossover audience, you know.
True.
Yeah, but corporate wants you to tell us the difference between this picture and this picture.
Yeah. Yep, and they're both the same fucking picture. They're both the same, Pam. They're both the same. Little office reference Kevin. There. What's that, Sal?
You can't eat cats, Kevin.
You can't eat cats, Kevin. The kid walks around saying that now.
Hell yeah.
He does, dude, because he sat there this morning. He comes and woke me up. He's like, hey, we put on Tom? I'm like, no, which is like that Talking Tom cartoon. And I'm like, no, bro, you've watched that. There's only the second season on Netflix, and you've watched it like 3 times. We're not watching that, because he plays the game on his tablet. And he's like, well, I don't want to watch something like The Office. And literally, he knows how to work the smart TV now. I walk out in the living room, and he's sitting there. He goes, Dad, The Office. And he's put The Office on.
Nice.
I was like, my man. My man.
Agostos.
But I kind of got derailed there. But so when Endgame initially came out, I think I gave it, I want to say, an 8.5 or a 9 out of 10 was my initial for it. And looking back now, to, you know, adjust that, as they say, adjusted for inflation, I'll adjust it for, you know, the new car smell wearing off of it, you know, after a year. And I've watched it probably at least 5, 6 times since. Because my kid, we watch. He'll throw it on occasionally, and we'll watch. It's not something I just sit there and watch, but I'll have it on as background noise or whatever. But I have sat down and actually watched it probably at least another 2 or 3 times out of that, 5 or 6. I would give this one out of 10. Oh, 7.5 maybe. Right now, I mean, what I really, it really. There's so many continuity errors and so many little nitpicky things now that I just it's changed for me over the last year. So what do you think, Tony?
I feel like, and this goes back to Infinity War as well, I mean, I would have liked to have seen more of Thanos before these 2 movies, and I would have liked to have seen like the destruction of the Nova Corps.
Yes.
I would have liked to have seen the Black Order built up. Like, they always talk about Marvel's villain problem. Why couldn't some of these children of Thanos be the villains in some of these movies? They don't have to die. It would have just added more depth, because there were some great moments in this movie, and there was also a lot of nostalgia that I enjoyed at the time, and I knew nostalgia, I don't want to say it doesn't age well, because it does kind of bring certain things full circle, and it was interesting to see what happened at Avengers Tower after the first movie and see it connect into the Winter Soldier and everything. I liked that, but it's mediocre to me. It's not a bad movie. It's got some great scenes, but there are also some major problems that I just can't ignore, and it's subjectively and objectively, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got you, man. I got you. Absolutely. What would you score it?
Sorry. I would probably give it probably 4.5 out of 10.
Okay. That wow.
Yeah.
All right. No, hell no. That's your ranking, man. That's your score. That's absolutely fine, brother.
Yeah. And again, I think a lot of it's not a lot of people worked hard on that movie. It's just there's too many restrictions, too many things that came before it. And I think especially what hurt it was, again, you can't go all out on this climax, because you have to worry about the next beats and the overall story in the big picture, so it's not, again, it's not the writer's fault. It's not the directors or the cast or crews. It's just they had too much to work around.
Yeah. There's a lot weighing on that one. Definitely. Steve, what do you say?
Initially, when I first came out the movie theater, I was pumped.
Yeah.
And I think I gave it a 9 out of 10, but after watching it, I haven't really fully watched it throughout. Sat there for 3 hours, been watching like clips and different scenes. Probably give it a 7, maybe a 6.5 now. Just because of all the errors and the time travel, and not a little bit of not seeing the whole go all out on Thanos. That kind of stuff is the reason why I kind of lowered it. And it's just things that didn't make sense. Even this is probably not so much Endgame, but a little bit more Far From Home. There's just things that just didn't make sense. Like, how can you put a world back together like that and have enough supplies and materials and food for everybody to supply, like, what is it, 50 million? I mean, like, not 50 million, but 50% of people who got dusted in the Infinity War. So now you're gonna tell me you're gonna have another 50% of like supplies for everybody to have and Far From Home. So like, how does that work? Exactly. Just little stuff like that just made me lower it just a little bit more. So
that's absolutely, man. That's understandable. Like you said, you take the nostalgia goggles off, and it might not. It doesn't look as good. So,
yeah.
Oh yeah. Salvador, what say you, sir?
When I first saw it, I gave it like a 9 or 9.5 out of 10. Like I really loved it. It was one of those things where at first I let uh, what I wanted to kind of be more important. Like I was like from the jump, I was like, oh, if they're doing time travel, like they need to let Steve go back and be with Peggy, and I got that, and it was like initially it was everything I wanted it to be, and then repeat viewings, I started noticing a lot more things that were kind of messed up with it, um, and like the time travel in of itself was very kind of you know hard to follow. Like I mentioned earlier, you had to suspend a lot of disbelief to kind of buy it. But anytime you introduce time travel into anything, that's always asking for chaos, because if it's possible now, it was always possible, and it always will be possible. And people will say, "Well, Tony Stark died." It's like, well, that's weird because the Hulk is still alive, and Hank Pym is still alive, and they already established that Shuri was smarter than all three of them. So,
Yeah.
nope, still possible. Um, but it wasn't. It's still not terrible. It's not the worst movie I've ever seen. Its score has been lowered to probably a 7.5, maybe an 8 for me, mostly because of the somewhat damage done to it by Far From Home. Because I found it very convenient that like in the entirety of Parker's class got dusted, and I was like, oh, I didn't realize that the 50% was being judged by Negan. That's weird. I didn't realize it was like half your shit, but I get to pick what half I want. So, yeah, it would have been a better way to introduce new characters in his class, like have some of the people age out, because not all of them are popular. Like Ned's girlfriend wasn't, extremely popular.
Yeah.
They should have had. I've never really cared for the kid that plays Flash.
He was annoying.
Yeah, he and this sounds really bad, but he doesn't look like Flash. You know what I mean? It's like he doesn't look like he could be a bully. He's too baby faced. You know what I mean?
Flash is a bully.
Yeah, and it's just like I don't know, kid. You have some very soft features in the face. Like I imagine, Flash being the chiseled jock and everything else. And
yep. Well, Joe Manganiello set the bar for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to fight me either.
Yep.
You don't understand, though. He's a cyber bully.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my whole thing. Is just there was damage done to it after the fact, and it's like they've kind of hurt themselves because now they've perpetually put themselves 5 years ahead of us, no matter what they do.
Yep.
So it's kind of like you might want to tread lightly because things like what's going on right now happen in the real world. So, something major could happen in the next 5 years, and how is that? How are they going to deal with that in the MCU? Which I know MCU, separate universe, all that stuff. It's a movie, but at the same time, they've grounded themselves by having New York, the Bronx, Brooklyn. Like they've grounded themselves on Earth in a tangible world where things that happen affect that movie. So I don't know, but Infinity War was way better than Endgame, and it's one of those where I kind of wish that they'd been more selective about who got dusted and left them that way.
Yes.
Yeah.
It would have had a stronger impact going forward. So
Absolutely.
It's like you didn't need, like I mentioned earlier, not everyone has to be an Avenger. So it's like, have certain characters get dusted and leave them that way, and it's just, they're gone.
Damn.
That's how they went out. And then if you want to bring them back, Multiverse of Madness would have been the way to do it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Oh, well, let's bring back this, character that we had dusted or something because we went to a different reality. Because they do that in the comics all the time. Someone will die and they'll go to a different reality and they'll pull that person from that reality into Earth 616 and be like, okay, you're Captain America here now. Because whatever reality they were in, they weren't important anymore or they weren't needed anymore or whatever. So, I don't know.
No, you're spot on there, man. You're spot on. Yeah, Infinity War, to look back at Infinity War in comparison, that movie's still damn near perfect. Mm-hmm. Like it truly is. Like that, I still look at that and I'll give that a 9 to 9.5 out of 10 every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I've watched that one probably, and that's one when that one goes on, I sit down and I watch it. And I probably watched that about 4 or 5 times in the last year, no joke. at least. That's I've got a lot of them on Blu-ray, and now with Disney Plus, I got them all there. So I'll just put a lot of them. Like the Guardians are the same way. I really enjoy those. But no, Endgame. It's the new car smell wore off that movie in a year. All it took was a year for that one to kind of go, and fall out of favor with a lot of the people who've been faithful to the MCU over the years. And yeah, like I said, just reboot it now, start it over. You've got the X-Men, you've got the Fantastic Four now. Build around that. Make the Fantastic Four your focus, and the X-Men. And don't change the name to X people.
Oh my goodness.
I feel like they probably won't even say the word like to avoid that. I think they're smart enough to where if they're not going to say X-Men, they just won't call it anything. They'll just make them all Avengers.
Yep. Or they'll stick with mutants.
Yeah. Or they'll be like, oh, X-Force or X-Factor or something. They'll pull a different X team and use that name.
Yep. Yeah. And before we switch off here to wrap the night up, I want to talk about the Chadwick Boseman deal. I didn't look into it completely, but I mean, he looked like he was sick. It's not just he lost weight for a role. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like he just didn't look well. And there was contract squabbles rumored to be going on behind the scenes. It's been reported on by a couple of the trades. And it looks like they're leaning towards replacing him with Shuri, which is fucking ridiculous. I know it happened in the comics. I know it did. But you have to appreciate that, you have 5 foot, 100 and, well, I don't even think Leticia Wright, that little girl is not 100 pounds. I mean, good God, she's a tiny little thing. It's like, I don't buy it. Whatever they're selling, I'm not buying it. They just, give her the mantle of Black Panther. And it's like, yeah, she's already smarter than everybody else in the universe. Like what, she's supposed to be like, 16 or 17 in Infinity War?
Yeah.
I mean, it's, and I just kind of, I don't want to call her a Mary Sue character, but because she's really not a complete Mary Sue, a little bit OP'd in some respects, as far as like the, being, smarter than everybody else, I mean, everybody in the world, but it's just, all these brilliant minds, but I just I won't buy her as Black Panther, I definitely wouldn't go see if they were like, if Black Panther 2 comes out and they do it, still the way they're going to do it and bring Namor into it, and it's still Chadwick Boseman, I'll absolutely go see it. Now, will I go see it if it's Leticia Wright? No. No. I'm not going to, I won't. You're not going to get my money for that because I don't want to see it. It's like, oh, well, you go see an A-Force movie? No. Nobody bought the fucking A-Force books. I'm definitely not going to go see a movie, but it's got a built-in excuse. If you say anything bad about it, you're an istophobe already. So it's kind of like they pick these projects, with these built-in defense mechanisms on social media. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. That's enough Marvel though, and we'll kind of take the night home with talk about Leslye. What's her name? Leslye Headland. Leslye Headland, and her female-centric Star Wars series that really doesn't exist outside of Kathleen Kennedy and her and whoever, whichever one of them leaked it to Variety, and it started picking up traction on the internet. And literally, it sounds like this is something that, because the brass at Disney is livid, as the quote goes, they are livid about this. So it sounds like Kathleen Kennedy went rogue.
She can. Do you think she plans on re-upping after this last contract they signed with her? And it's kind of known that she was going to leave after that, so why not? What are they going to really do about it? They can't fire her.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for something like this, I mean, she signed on and announced a TV show that nobody has heard about. She didn't get approval from, the higher-ups, which are Bob Chapek and Bob Iger at this point. So it really, I mean, I would think they could void her contract for that. I mean, that's got to be somewhere in there that that's some kind of breach of contract, if nothing else.
There's
They won't.
They won't.
there's probably a lot behind the scenes that we don't know as well. Maybe she's got him by the balls somehow. Maybe Chapek and Feige had Bree back in the shed, and she walked in and snapped a picture.
Well, let's look at it like this. This Leslye Headland, she worked for Harvey Weinstein for a year. Not only did she work for him, she was his personal assistant for a year. She made a play about some of the things that he had done. Okay? So this is another reason that Disney's probably terrified about having her on their payroll, is because what if the FBI comes calling one day? This is serious though. Like, what if another Weinstein accuser steps forward, even though he's already incarcerated? He's going to die in prison and he deserves to. But what if somebody else comes forward and she turns out to be complicit in that? And, you have affidavits and you have, some, signed testimonies and things like that. That is going to create a huge. It's going to be huge.
Huge PR
completely
storm.
huge. Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
James Gunn's gonna be in the corner, and be like, "See, my tweets weren't so bad, were they?"
Kevin Spacey's like, can I get a job now?
Oh, Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey and R. Kelly come walking in to audition for the new Avengers.
Kevin Spacey's gonna be Galactus.
I'll only eat the worlds if they're played by children. Oh, God. I'm going to hell for that one.
I was thinking, sacrifice your young and I'll leave your planet alone.
R. Kelly's the Silver Surfer. He's the Golden Surfer because he pees on everybody.
You've got a little Roman Polanski moon revolving around.
Oh, God. One of Galactus's heralds is John Wayne Casey. This took a dark turn really quick.
Yeah, it did.
Oh my God. So, okay. I'm sweating from laughing. God, I'm out of shape. And it's not even warm here. No, but this Leslye Headland lady. I mean, this could be a huge PR shitstorm for Disney. And with the way they're hemorrhaging money, they're not going to bounce back automatically from the Cabrona flu.
Oh, absolutely not.
They're losing what they say, like $100 million a day.
It was like 30 million or 300 million. It was something absurd.
Just a stupid amount of money they're losing a day.
No.
Oh, I want to go back to our previous and just say Leo Red's comment: soundtrack provided by Gary Glitter.
Rock and roll, rock.
Oh, but he's just sitting back rubbing his hands together now, going good. Because he's like, I started this R. Kelly shit. Now look at it; it's taking on a life of its own. But no, man. So this, this is going to be a problem, and why? They had to lead out with it's a female-centric show. Well, why don't you just make a show, have a female protagonist, and let the audience decide if it's a good show or not?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that takes writing talent and creativity to do. Never mind. Carry on. We understand.
Mm-hmm.
Because they just seem like their writers are just kind of, well, they're all phoning it in.
Yeah.
They can't help themselves, like I always say. Disney can't help themselves.
Yeah, I don't. I'll be interested to see where this whole thing goes, how it plays out. If this, because I honestly, I understand why they did it, because they're the Kathleen Kennedy, the force is female and the future is female agenda is obviously the why, because she's like, if we do this, if we leak this, how can they? We're basically infallible, because if they cancel this show, Twitter would blow up and it's, oh my God, you're sexist. And because, what's Headland, she's a lesbian, of course, she's one of the alphabet people. So, it doesn't matter if she's, not that good at what she does because she checks a box, so she can't be fired.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I had no idea what Russian Dolls even was. I had no fucking clue what that show
I've
is.
seen it on Netflix, I think. I've seen it a couple times suggested to me. I haven't watched it. I mean, I'm just seeing it as an option to pass by.
Mhm.
But, question. What if this all-female Star Wars show is about the Night Sisters?
But that would be all right. But I just the way they're approaching it is just, it's the wrong approach. Like you said, if you're saying, hey, it's about the Night Sisters, well, okay, cool, now we're talking, but it's like, well, it's a female centric show and you're gonna fucking like it, or you're a bunch of incels and man babies and you hate women, you're afraid of strong women. No, we just want to know what the basis of it is. I don't care that it's female centric. Just tell me what the basis of the story is, and
when does it take place?
Yeah,
something.
Yeah, I don't understand why they're so hung up on that. It's ridiculous. It really is.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see how this develops, because I mean, Star Wars is basically dead in the water right now, because let's face it, this High Republic thing is going to be a joke.
Yeah.
They're basically trying to rewrite the EU.
See, why don't they make a Darth Vader Disney Plus series? Why don't they do the obvious things? Show us, take us through Yoda's life, a Disney Plus series instead of Baby Yoda. Like, do the obvious things here. You own the properties. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, when's a better time? Star Wars came out decades ago. When's a better time to give us a show about Darth Vader? What are you waiting for?
Yep. There was rumors that there was going to be a Darth Vader Disney Plus show. I did a video on that like last summer. It was rumored, and it's still kind of floating around out there, that Hayden Christensen's supposed to, play Vader.
It's probably the royalties they have to pay to George Lucas. That's why we're getting Cassian Andor. and probably why we're getting Cassian Andor's, his robot got a good response from the audience,
Yep.
So.
Yeah, K2SO was one of the best parts of that damn movie.
Yeah. So it's probably more of a K2SO show, where he's probably what secured that more than anything.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. RT Animal says Russian Dolls ain't that bad, not great, but okay. Groundhog Day reboot. Okay. All right. Yeah, like I said, I'd never even heard of it. So, but yeah, we were talking about Marvel, and I think I told you guys off air. I ordered was it like 12? I ordered 12 comic books today. There's a shop that's about an hour away from me, and they're doing a thing, and they're donating the proceeds to it's a pretty cool charity. It's providing masks for elderly people and stuff like that. So I was like, they donate like out of your order, it's like, I don't know, 5% or something like that. I was like, whatever, so I ordered a couple. It was like what was it, 6 comics for $12, and I had to have them shipped, so it came out to, it was like 38 for 12 books. It went to a good cause, so I was like, all right. So I ordered and I talked to the guy on the phone for like a half hour. Super cool guy. They have a page on Facebook, and they'll ship anywhere. It was the Comic Book RX in Cadillac, Michigan. I've seen them on the news a few times because they do a big thing for Free Comic Book Day and stuff like that. So it was really cool. But yeah, so I got some amazing Spider-Man books coming for the boy, and some of the symbiote fucking stories, all stuff from like the last 5 years, I told him, I said, I started talking to him about Comicsgate, and he was, he didn't, shit on it or anything like that, and he's actually going to get me. He hasn't ordered it. I asked him if Marvel forced the new Warriors on him yet. And he laughed, and he goes, this isn't really funny. He goes, I have friends that are like non-binary, and I actually have a few friends that are transgender. He goes, and they fucking saw that. He goes, they're comic fans. And he said they saw that, and they were just like, they were insulted by it.
Good.
Like completely insulted. And I'm not just saying that because it fits what we've been saying. I'm saying it because this is it's living proof. you know, and I don't know this guy from Adam. You know, he didn't have to tell me this, but he did because we were talking about the subject. And yeah, he said they saw it as insulting. You know,
Good.
it's the worst kind of pandering.
I'm glad they see through it.
Oh, absolutely. And he even said the same thing. He's like, it's, you know, it's kind of like Marvel just trolling the fans.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. So
they're writing for themselves.
Yep. And I mean, look at that Daniel Kibblesmith guy. Like I said, this guy like is yeah, I think he's a little light in the loafers personally, but you know, not that there's anything wrong with that. But you know, he went out and he bought himself onto that show, Millionaire Matchmaker, and you know, got his trophy wife that, you know, he watches you know, his wife and her boyfriend go at it, and he probably buys them Nikes when they're done. So he want them new Jordans, man. Shit. You got to buy the pool boy shoes after he bangs your old lady. So but he's gonna hook me up. I'm gonna get a copy of that book and I'm gonna review it for the channel. So when that comes out, I'll have that, because I have it's like number 3 from 1990 of the original run of the New Warriors. That's one of the ones I have, and I just read that the other day, and I'm going to buy it, and I'm gonna. Leo Red says I have to buy New Warriors when it comes out. Oh yeah, absolutely. It's it's gonna be so fucking terrible. I'm willing to pay for it. It's like Cats. I paid. My wife was joking around. She goes, "We paid $7 to watch that shithole movie." I'm like, "Yes, we did, hon. Yes, we did." But so that's basically it for the night, guys. I'd like to thank everybody for being in the chat. This has been a kick-ass episode. We got episode 99 next week, and then the following week, the big 100. We hit triple digits in the episode numbers. So I would like to thank everybody who has been here this evening. Keely Chow, Leo Red, RT Animal, Manliness and Motivation, Raiders of the Lost Flicks, Ray's Double. Dartico showed up. Yeah, it was great to see Dartico back in the chat. Let's see who else we got up here. Let's see, Dartico, Ray's Double Dong, Admiral Tiberius was here, Flare X was here. So yeah, thank you guys all for showing up this evening. And let's go around the room. I'm going to give you all a solo. We'll start with Tony. You go ahead and plug what you got coming up, because Tony put out a video, his first single release video on his channel the other day. If you haven't watched it yet, you should, because it's fucking hilarious. So Tony, take it away.
You know, I did put out a video, and the response to it so far has been fantastic, and I just wanted to thank everybody who supported it, who took the time to watch it. There's definitely more to come, and if you haven't checked it out, or if you're interested in future content, check out my channel. It's Tony ToneDef. I want to thank Pete as well. You know, he stayed on me and really broke me into the whole YouTube world, so I don't think I could have done it without him. So thank you, bro. And again, thank you, everyone. I'll probably have a Twitter up soon or something, so just stay tuned.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it. And like I said, it's been my pleasure to help out. And like I said, you were somebody that I interacted with in a couple of the groups, and I was like, I really wanted to get this guy on the show. You know, I was like, he's a funny dude. And I'm like, I bet you that'll really translate over to the you know, to the screen, and it's worked out, man. So yeah, I'm glad it's worked. So
Thank you, brother.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Let's see. I'm gonna go back through here. Let's see. Flare X is still here. RT Animal says, I got no problem with gay or trans people. I got some friends. They deserve better. Absolutely. Absolutely. Leo Red, New Warriors Read Party when it comes out. You know what, Leo Red? Bet. We will do that. I will do that on air. I'll probably do a video on it, and we'll do it live. We'll do it live on one of the shows. Fuck it. We'll do it live. We will have the New Warriors book on the air when I get a hold of that. Absolutely. That's for you, man. So let's go on here back to the sign-offs. Down to my man Steve from Franchise History TV. What do you got coming up?
I got a Jurassic World video coming out tomorrow. That's it, because pretty much I'll be on the road all this week. My birthday's on Wednesday. That's another reason why I won't be doing too much. Turning 30 on Wednesday.
Oh,
But,
all right.
yeah, I think that's the only thing I got this week is a Jurassic World video. So yeah.
All right. What are you doing for the video on Jurassic World? If you don't want to say, it's okay, but
Uh, it pertains to one character that really annoyed me. But I'm not going to say that character's name until the video pops out. I want to keep it
excellent.
mysterious for now.
All
So
right, man. Well, thank you for being on and being a regular on the show. I do appreciate it. And you, sir, I hope you have a great birthday. I'm not. I'm out of my 30s now. I can no longer officially tell Brie Larson what to do. I'm a 40-year-old white guy.
yep.
She doesn't care about my opinion anymore. You're welcome, man. You're welcome. And last but certainly not least, the Don of 2 Cents Toys, Salvador.
Hello. Oh, this is my outro. My bad. Yeah. So channel's slowing down a little bit. Work does get in the way of these things, but picked up a new item today. I'll be filming, editing, all that stuff into the night, and that will be uploaded tomorrow. Standard time for me is around 3 p.m., 4 p.m., well, 4 p.m. Eastern, so be on the look for that. Got a few more figure reviews coming out. I got a customization video I got to start doing because I've done 3 now. Third one came out today. I've slowly been making my way through my. There's these toys have so long names today. It's like Spin Masters is the company that makes it, and then it's a line called like Creature Chaos or Chaos Creatures, and then the sub line is Cape Crusader line, and it's basically these Batman figures that they do. So I've done 3 out of the 4, and the 4th one's definitely going to be an undertaking. That's going to take it's going to take a minute to get that one done. But yeah, so I got all that coming out. Boardroom episode this Wednesday, I believe.
Yeah.
And that's I think about it. I'm sure there's something I'm forgetting because that's usually what happens. As soon as the stream goes not live, I'll be like, oh fuck, I forgot to talk about that. But it is what it is. So you stay classy, San Diego.
Well, thank you for being here again, brother. I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I guess it's my turn here. Let's see here. Do I have the camera? I don't even know if I. Yes, I do. There's my ugly ass right there. Well, for the rest of the week out of me, let's see. You'll get a video tomorrow. I'll probably dive a little bit deeper into this Leslye Headland meatloaf-looking woman tomorrow in a video. And tomorrow night, we're right back here live. Probably 8:30, 9 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. The stream will be up in the morning. I'll have a link posted earlier in the day than I did today. But yeah, because my Batwoman review came out today. Yes, Batwoman is back. All hail my boo Ruby Rose. She's back. They didn't cancel it. Thank God. I'll get at least the rest of this season. It was a shit show episode. So go check that review out. That's up now. Yeah, tomorrow night, the wrestling podcast, the Pete Daddy Dollars Pad and the super terrific Happy Fun Time Wrestling Show will be on. I'll have my panel of Mad Dog Warren, Brother Will Vendetta, and I don't think Kendo is available tomorrow night because of his schedule, so he'll be on, I believe, the following week. He'll be coming back to the show, so it'll just be me, Jared, and Will tomorrow night, and possibly a 4th mystery panelist. I'll have to check my DMs on Twitter and see if I have a guest lined up yet, because I've put feelers out for a couple. So I'm trying to reach out I have a few connections left in the wrestling business that are outside of the independent circuit to where I might be able to get a decent size, a well-known, wrestler on. So I'm going to try for that. And we've got the giveaway going. Where the hell's it at here? Let me find it. It's right behind me. Here it is right here. Yeah. We're giving away a authentic, official NWO banner. It's 28 by 42 Wolfpack banner. That'll be on the show tomorrow night. We'll be doing that giveaway. And yeah, Wednesday we'll have the boardroom. We'll be over on Goober Brothers Entertainment, if I'm not mistaken, Sal.
Correct.
Yep, we'll be over on Goober Brothers Entertainment with Commander Cody. That's the Don, myself, and Commander Cody will be over there. You'll get some videos out of me the rest of the week. Let's see, and that's it. I'll be over on Raiders of Lost Flicks live Friday night. I believe Steve, you're on that show, aren't you, Steve?
Yeah, actually I am.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought I got a message from Adam saying you were on Friday night, and that'll be your first time over there. So we'll have fun watching a bad movie. We're watching well, actually it's not bad. It's Trancers, so that's a pretty decent one. But yeah, that's about what I've got going on the rest of the week, and yeah, that's it, man. Just keep on keeping on for the rest of the week, and try to stay. I get a weekend by myself this weekend. The family is going to visit they're going up to our cabin. So I will be alone by myself. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Holy shit, Sal, how did you see you were talking about forgetting stuff and I must be getting senile because this Saturday night 8:30 p.m. right here, UHF watch party.
That's what it was.
The UHF watch party we're doing Saturday night. The 1989 classic by Weird Al Yankovic. Sal's going to be on the stream. Raiders will be on the stream. I believe Mad Dog Warren is going to jump over from the wrestling show. He's going to be on Saturday, and I'll probably have one more person on. So, so it'll be 5 of us watching that, and that is it's on Tubi right now. I say it's not on YouTube, but it is on Tubi. I have the DVD, and so I might be able to rip a couple copies of that and send it through Wet Transfer if somebody needs one. So let me know in advance, and I can kind of help out with that because I do have that. So if I can rip it and, like I said, send it to you through Wet Transfer, I'll send you that so you can join in with us Saturday night 8:30 right here. And I would like to thank my panel again, everybody. Thank you guys so much. Every Monday night you guys are here and we have kick-ass shows. I know we're running a little bit longer, but we started a little bit late, so I appreciate you all. And you guys in the chat, thank you so much for participating in the shows. What is this? Wait, RT Animal says, do a Batwoman live stream. I've got some thoughts as a woman, not a woman. Okay. Well, hey, we can do that. We can do it. But when do you want me to live? Do you want me to live stream like after the show? Like do a live reaction on Sunday night? Because I can do that because Walking Dead's not on anymore. I still haven't watched the last episode of Walking Dead, and I'm going to start rambling. So that's it. I'm Tepo Kuin, and the place to be reviews. I've been here with all the yous, and I say at the end of every video and every show, if I don't see you, have a great day, a pleasant tomorrow, and be safe out there. Be good to each other, like Jerry Springer used to say. Take care, guys.
Bye.